Okay, great. Um, Thank you everybody for coming on time. That's one of the biggest things when we have a group meeting. Everybody's together at that time. So I'm Deepa Sumani, and I'm kind of the coordinator for this whole practice group that we'll be having for the next 30 days. Welcome. And a few things about why, about how my interest came along and what really transpired to have for having this program to happen here is that I noticed when I was kind of coaching in many of the trainings that people were having a difficulty doing self-practice. And the second issue was that once we go back after the training, we kind of, take a little bit of break, and then the break becomes a prolonged break, and most of us don't actually go back to practicing. When I started my practice, I started with the online training course. I think many of us here are just from the online training course. I practiced it religiously, I would say, or devotedly, or whatever is the word, for the next 3 months. And it was very interesting that whenever I had an issue, I had emailed to Connie Ray, and she would reply back and kind of clarify my doubts and stuff like that. So one of the things that I asked her one time is that how can I really get the most out of this whole 3-day training that I have? Or I think I bought the 2-day training at that time. So how can I get the most out of it? And she said, Deepa, what I do is I take one of the process of, the many different, I think we have 8 different things that we learn during the 3-day training, or maybe 5. So what she said was, I take one of the process formats and work with that for the next 1 month. And then the next month, I take the second format. So the second format is the authority process, reclaiming inner authority. And I would run that for the next month. For whatever came up, I'd just use that process. And I found that to be very interesting when I followed that advice, and I was like, okay, this seems to really work for me. And I seem to get all the different formats very easily into my system. And after doing that, I did experience a certain amount of, skill in actually doing the process within myself. So whatever suited best for the problem that arose, whatever format suited best, my consciousness guided me towards that format. Like something was missing, or I felt like there's something missing, and then immediately my system started to do the what's missing process, So when the last time I was in Boulder during the training, I again had this experience of, oh my God, how are people going to actually work with this? Will they get the resources that I got and things like that? So I approached Connie Ray and I said, Connie Ray, I think it'll be a nice idea to have all of the wholeness people together on a particular platform and practice wholeness for the next 30 days, and maybe all our systems will kind of start to do the wholeness work very automatically. I know many of us here have already started doing it that way. Like we naturally do the wholeness work on ourselves when we have something coming up. So this is the first time I'm doing any of this. So pardon my mistakes and any lapses that happen during the calls. It is a learning process for me. And I think many of you are pros on this. So I'd appreciate any support if you can offer for any of the glitches that we have. So right now, how the format will work is, as everybody knows, is that we will have Sunday calls, and we will, go through one of the formats. Today we'll be doing the basic process, and then on the group call, I'll just very quickly go through the manual on the process. And then on the group call, we'll break you into group. We'll make, I have Krish here, by the way, who I really want to acknowledge. It's his ID that I'm using in making this whole thing work. And that's Krish, and he's from India. He's actually right now in India, and he's working from there. And he's been my mentor and my teacher for a very long time. And now we are colleagues now. Yeah, things have shifted. So thank you, Krish. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just looking at my notes as to what I should do. Right. So we are all here to support each other in our journey, in our wholeness journey. And so anything that anybody else requires support for, please feel free to connect with me. And if you need a partner to work with or something like that, we'll try to coordinate with different schedules of different people if possible. If you're on the Facebook group, the 30-day Wholeness Practice closed group, you can actually have an ease in finding partners there to work with if you want to. I personally would encourage self-practice, because it's not every day that we'll have somebody to work with us, right? So I'll encourage self-practice if you can do that. If not, please seek out partners on the group. We are about 38 of us in this practice. And as of now, people have been registering today also. So I don't know how far we'll go. I have a few familiar faces here. I know I can see Jason there. Hi, Jason. And Susan, I know. Not many people I know. So I guess some of us are from.
Oh, suddenly, I don't know if you can hear me, but you're
Germany, if I'm not wrong. So, okay. Am I frozen for everybody?
Now you're unfrozen and I can hear you, but I missed
okay.
much.
Okay, but could you hear me while I was frozen?
No.
Okay, so I don't know where you didn't hear me. I'm sorry. I've been talking for a long time now.
No, I just missed a few minutes.
Okay, cool. I don't think you missed much, Susan.
Okay.
Yeah. So stay honest to your experience is one of the suggestions I got from Connie Ray to share with the group. Stay honest with your experience. And if many of you are from the whole online program, so one of the primary things that we want to do with the wholeness work is to adapt the procedure to fit you and not you to fit the procedure. So what it means is that each one has a very individual experience about how it works for them. And if it doesn't kind of sit with you or something like that, please approach, I think we have Steffi too. It's Steffi's birthday. Her name is Stephanie and she's from Germany. She's another trainer who's with me on this journey, on this practice session. So she and I are going to support you guys, and hopefully Mark will be there too, for any of the problems that you face. So if it doesn't sit for you, or if you're having some problems, please approach us either on the Facebook group or email. Okay, so that's covered. Okay, so let's start with the basic process. Very simple. If you have your manuals with you, that's really going to support you. One of the things that has always supported me is going with the manual verbatim while I'm practicing. I go word to word. I'm a little nerd like that. If you think you can do without the manual, good luck. So what I do is simple, right? So I'm going through the wholeness, the basic wholeness process. Okay, if you have it out in front of you, it would just help you. So choose an experience to explore. So in this particular section, one of the notes that I'd like to give you is that if you don't find anything to work with in the moment, then you can just scan your body, relax whatever naturally relaxes, and then go with what doesn't or what remains. I'm having a feedback from a couple of you. Could you just see if you're muted? That'd be nice. So just relax whatever relaxes in your body and go with what remains. And then go into the, so like for now, what I'm doing is I'm just relaxing my whole body. And I find that something remains in the middle of my chest. Okay. Now, I go in and I scan. Okay, it's like a round circular thing, which is this thick, and sensing in and through that. What I'm doing is accessing the part two of the process, access the feeling response. And notice how you feel in response to this. Oh, I'm getting a little anxiousness there. Okay. Now I describe the feeling and I notice the size, shape, and sensation quality. Now, one of the biggest things about the eyes is when we don't spend enough time with it, we tend to have uh, some kind of some issues later kind of thing, or you can't find the next one or something like that. So what I tend to do and what has helped me in my practice is I give my full attention to that particular eye or whatever sensation feeling is coming up. And I sense it fully and completely, like sensing in and through that. So then what you're doing is you're being really present with that particular point that you are in the process. So right now, this is the initial feeling that I get, okay, and my sensation quality there. And as I sense into that, I sense there's a little bit of buzziness there. Okay, now I noticed that completely. And now now I say, okay, I'm aware of this here, the sensation here. So where is the eye that is aware of this sensation that is located in the center of my chest here? And I immediately get something on the top of my head on the right side. And I notice that it's touching my head, and it's a little lumpy kind of thing here, which is black, and it's this big. So in our practice on an everyday level, what we truly need to do is just connect with that, have the sense of that. Now, what happens when we practice or when we're doing a self-practice is many of us have given me the feedback, many of you have given me the feedback that you can't keep track of the eyes. Okay, that's one of the problems that is quite prevalent in the whole thing, because once you start relaxing them or you go through the chain of eyes, you lose track of the eyes, right? So one of the things that can be done, which is very useful, which Steffi shared with me, is that making a figure, a human figure. Okay, it's not a human figure, I know, but if you can just see, okay, so this is the starting point for my previous process that I was doing, and then you name it one. So this is on the left side, and this is one, and then there's two here, and I think there's a three which is triangular on top of the head, and then there's a four which is like the bigger one on top. So you can do this for yourself, or just make very short notes on a pad, like write the number one and just write the location of that. Because the moment you kind of open your eyes and see, okay, where's the location of that, you'll instantly get into that that particular eye. You will be able to access it. So that is taking small notes and making a drawing like that helps in keeping track of the eyes. So my first eye is here, and then I'm gonna gently sense if this one is ready to relax, and it seems to be ready to relax. Yeah. So I'll gently send it an invitation to open, relax, merge, and dissolve into the full field of awareness that's all around and throughout. And there it goes. Yeah. And then I come back to the initial sensation, and that too relaxes. Now, so it's a very, very easy, simple process. Any questions that anybody has in this right now? Okay, Susan, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry, I missed. Yeah, I noticed that you checked in to see whether that first eye was ready to relax and merge. And that was interesting to me because I think the way the process was articulated to me, it was or in the notes and everything, it was to see if there's an other eye. That if the first eye is sort of concrete and not very kind of close to awareness, then you go for an eye chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're finding it's
Yeah.
okay, it's okay to just merge
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. It is okay to do that. And it is perfectly fine to go with the manual and find if there's a second eye. So what I noticed right now is I automatically had done that, but I had not followed the manual. So I went in to just sense if that one relaxes, and it just relaxed. So I'm also keeping a tab of the time, because I know each one of you will probably require about 20 minutes one way to do the practice. And that's the reason why I've kind of, just wanted to go and see if it relaxes, and it relaxed. So that was like good for me. But you could do it and sense, okay, is there another eye? Is there a second one? And you could say, I'm aware of this one. And so where are you aware of this from? And I'm not getting anything. But, if you are doing your process, you could find another eye. So traditionally, we go with 3 layers of eyes. And then if the third one is dense, then you would go for another 4th layer. Okay? Does that work?
I understand. Thank you.
And if the 4th one doesn't want to relax or merge into awareness, then you'd probably have to go to another one. Yeah. So the whole process is very simple and beautiful, because and you can't go wrong, because if the eye doesn't want to relax, you'll have to go and find another layer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions regarding the basic process? Okay. None. We're all experts. Good. Great. Okay. So, Krish, can I request you to have the breakout rooms?